Good morning, friends. Today I have brought in another a very interesting topic, and this is particularly useful for the people who are working on SAP support projects. If they want to know how that works, particularly with regard to any kind of incident or service request, and likewise how to go about how to analyze it and how to fix it, what all needs to be done. So, today we will see everything in a very detailed manner with some live examples. Okay, so let's proceed. But before we move further, it is my humble request, kindly watch this video till the end for your better understanding. That will give you a thorough idea how that works. Not just that, you will have a proper understanding as well. And kindly like this video, subscribe this YouTube channel, and share it in your network as well. So let's proceed further. You can see the screen what it is meant for. Ticket incidents in SAP, and a ticket can be any of these varieties you can see, and it can be from any of the modules. Remember, this process is not SAP module specific, but it is very generic and general, which affects all modules together. So process is same. Issue can come from any of the modules, is not a big thing as such. So it can be very simple one, the one you can see this particular screen, and it can be very complicated one where person is just observing where the issue is, and sometimes junior people also can give a try, and sometimes we have to do some deep level of analysis where we have to open up everything to see where the issue is. So basically, issue can be of various types: simple one, medium complexity one, complex one, critical one. So this is just a presentation in a different way, but the content in SAP also will look pretty much same. Some of the issues are very simple, and some of the issues are most complex you can think of. Let's proceed further. See, for some of the issues you can handle independently. For some of the issues you have to have touch base with other people, because issue can be single module also, it can be cross module also. So if it is a cross module issue, you will have to deal with other teams also in the resolution of the issue along with yourself. And then probably you might need sometimes external help as well, and even SAP help also in some cases you might need it. So depending on which kind of issue, how the things are, and likewise you can see and you can then decide up. Let's proceed further. Content. So what all things we are going to see as part of this presentation. So what is a ticket or incident in SAP? Categorization of an incident. What is L1 to L4 tickets? How we do analysis of tickets, methods and approaches. What is solution proposed? What are the preventive measures? what is called as KBA documents, what is OSS message, and then what all the different ticketing applications and tools are available in the market which is generally used in all such cases. Then we will also see what is performance metrics and improvement. Then finally we will end our entire discussion with the conclusion. So this is the first sheet of contents, and then this is the second sheet of contents. And as I said, as you can see also, it can come from any of the areas issues, because issues doesn't have a fixed area as such. It can come from any corner. Let's proceed further. So what is a ticket or incident in SAP? Whenever user is facing any kind of issue, it can be related to anything. Anything means it can be an authorization issue, it can be any kind of document posting issue. Sometimes this issue can be also in the form of master data, transaction data, configuration, system performance, connectivity of SAP with other systems. The variety of incidents and tickets can be literally too many. And why these issues come? Because this is how an IT system usually works. It can have variety of issues depending on what user is trying to do in the system, and then based on some lot of other factors as well, because technology is evolving. Every now and then something new is coming up, and moreover the expectations of the business users from the system also is being increasing a lot. All these things basically gives a requirement for any kind of either ticket or incident, or it can be a service request as well. And it is crucial to maintain the SAP system operations and user satisfaction. It also ensures that system is working as expected in terms of system performance. And we always say, as a part of last step of either ASAP methodology or SAP activate methodology, continuous improvement. So how the continuous improvement will happen? For that, these incidents and tickets plays a very critical role to keep the system updated and keep it most useful condition of these systems at any given point of time by the business users, because system is actually meant for the business users only. Other people are playing only in the supportive role. Let's proceed further. Now we will talk about categorization of an incident. What all variety or what all category of incidents we can have in the system? It can be access issue. I mean, it can be an authorization issue. It can be a system error, configuration request, performance problem. And once you understand all these problems, then you will be also in a position to handle them in an efficient manner and in an effective manner. What is the parameter based on which this categorization of these incidents happens? So categorization would be what is the severity, impact, and what is the type of incident it is. That decides how to classify an incident, whether it will go into P1, P2, P3, P4, P5. We have seen so many variety of tickets as part of SLA which gets signed between client and the vendor. So this plays a very important role. Proper classification guides the support team in prioritizing and resolving the incidents effectively. Remember, whatever is having the most impact on the system performance and the usability of the system, and how much it has overall impact on the business operations or day-to-day business operations, otherwise people also called as business as usual, BAU. So for that, this incident classification is really very necessary in order to pick up. And remember, priority is always given to the most impactful issue at any given point of time. If you have a P1 ticket in place, then you will leave all the P3, P2, P4, all these tickets you will leave, you will start jump directly on the P1 ticket first. Hope this point is clear. Then this classification directly influences the response times, escalation procedures, and resource allocation. So all these things are part and parcel of our SAP support project. Where, and remember, we have two type of SLAs. Two type of SLAs. First, response SLA. The moment you have received the ticket, how much time it takes to you to acknowledge that receipt of the ticket and informing to the user that boss, we have received a ticket from you and we have started working on the same for the resolution, and we will keep you posted as we progress further. The time it takes from that place to this status is what is called as your response SLA. After response SLA gets over, your resolution SLA begins. Resolution SLA is basically about from the acknowledgement of the issue till the final resolution of the issue and confirmation from the business user saying that yes, my issue is being fixed, you can close the ticket. Till you get that message, your resolution SLA continues. So two types. Sometimes people ask these kind of questions in the interview as well. So please keep these things in mind. It is very much useful. Even I have also faced such kind of issues, such kind of questions in my interview experience. Okay, now let's proceed further. How a ticket gets created? What is the process? How that gets done? So in this slide we will talk about that. Take example, let me give you from a real-time perspective how ticket gets created. And I will give a very simple example. Everybody faces it. I will not give example which people face very rarely. Though issue can come from any possible angles. That is a separate topic altogether. So suppose somebody has tried to post a transaction FB50 in the system. Any business user tried to post it, and that person has got the error that you are not authorized to use the transaction code FB50 in the system. So user has faced that issue. What he will do first is, with that error screenshot, he will try to reach out to his immediate boss, or maybe the key user of the department, or maybe the power user, business user, key user. This is what we usually they called as, because they will have more understanding of any kind of issues. So if the person sees that okay, maybe some rules are missing to that particular ID, and he will show that okay sir, this is what I am getting, this is error, please help me to sort it out because it is impacting my day-to-day work. Now business user also will check and will see whether he is in a position to fix it. This access issue I just gave as an example. The issue can be anything. There can be so many different variety of issues. The list is very long. Then, if at all he is able to fix it, then there will not be any ticket as such. If issue is fixed by the key user itself, you will not get a ticket as such. But if he is not able to fix that issue, then he will raise a ticket by filling some filling the issue related details in any of the tools used for the ticketing purpose. It can be ServiceNow, it can be Remedy4, it can be BMC, it can be Solution Manager, it can be HPALM, and then there are literally so many. We have one slide specifically meant for the ticketing tool as well. We will go there. There we will see more in detail. So this is how the ticket will be raised. Now, ticket is mainly of two categories. Either it will be an incident or it will be a service request. Let us understand the difference between the two as well. If any functionality in the SAP production system is supposed to be running efficiently, and that functionality gets broken up, or any kind of issue is coming out of that, then that kind of issue is what is called as incident. If any running functionality, already working functionality in the production system, has suddenly stopped working for any reason, it is called as an incident. But if the same business user is saying that, boss, I need one new GL account, please create it, then this is not called as an incident. This is called as service request, SR. Usually in the short form we call it as SR, service request. Why it is SR? Because that person is asking for something new. It can be a master data, it can be a configuration, it can be any kind of specific authorization which was not there earlier before, and so on. The variety, as I said, there are quite a lot of varieties. But then if the business user is demanding something new to be set up in the system, something new, anything, it can be any from any module, any area, it really does not matter. If it is a new requirement, a new functionality, in this particular slide we have understood how an incident is being created and logged in the ticketing tool. It can be any tool for that matter. And then we have also understood what all the different types of incidents we can have. Either it will be an incident or it will be a service request, as the case may be, depending on whether it is a running system error or it is a new request from the business user. Moving on to the next slide. In this slide we are going to discuss about what is L1 ticket, L2, L3 and L4 ticket, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Many a times if you observe the JD of a support project, there also you will find these L1, L2, L3, L4 levels. And let us today understand from this particular slide what this L1, L2, L3, L4 is meant for, and how that works in a case of a support project. Here I want to mention a couple of things which is very important. Remember, the moment some issue or some error or some ticket or service request is logged in the any of the SAP ticketing tool, immediately it does not get assigned to the person who is going to work on that particular issue. In every support project, you will find these many different levels of people who are meant to do a specific work related to that issue. So let's go through in detail and understand how this entire scenario works. So basically tickets are categorized into different levels L1 to L4 based on their complexity and the type of support which is needed in order to fix that issue. L1 support. L1 support is usually the lowest level of support, or you can say the first line of support, often referred as help desk support. Suppose, and these are all very generic kind of things. It can be all related to user assistance, basic kind of troubleshooting, handling simple issues like password resets, user ID maintenance, and so on. All the basic level, your SAP security related issues and any kind of desktop maintenance related issues, all these things actually goes to your L1 level issues. Now moving on to the L2. This level involves more of a technical support. L2 support handles issues that L1 cannot resolve. The people who are working at the L1 level, when they cannot fix any issue which has come via ticketing tool, then they pass it on to the L2 team. So if it is minor configuration changes, batch job monitoring issue, or any issue which needs little bit of more detailing of the troubleshooting, or it can be so many things. It can be a single module issue, it can be a cross module issue, it can be, suppose payment file has failed for example, or it did not get loaded successfully. These issues will be usually little bit more urgent in nature, and L1 team will not have enough expertise to handle these kind of things. So that is why it will go to the level 2 team. Now level 3 is what now let's talk about. And remember, these are, level 2 will be all small and minor configurations, small ones. Sometimes it can be master data related, sometimes it can be transaction data related, or small things here and there. Level 3. Level 3 will deal with even more complex than level 2. Maybe an issue has come in a way cross module situation which needs deeper level of understanding, and the level of complexity here will be really very high. And for L3 support, usually senior consultants and the above level people are involved in fixing such kind of issues. This requires in-depth technical knowledge, configuration changes, customization. Sometimes it can be also related to implementation of OSS nodes, which is nothing but SAP online support system nodes. We have a slide on this OSS part as well in the later part of this presentation. We will go there and then we will talk about that OSS messages and other things. So this is the level 3. Now let's go to the level 4. Level 4, sometimes we involve the SAP development team as well. Suppose we are getting an issue where we need directly support from the SAP team, then they will log in the system. And remember, the level 3 we have talked only about implementation of the OSS nodes. We did not talk about analysis of the OSS nodes. Analysis of OSS nodes also being done as part of this entire L1 to L4 levels, but it is done by the SAP team. We just check whether that node is applicable to our system and to our given business scenario or not. That is what we check from our end. Suggestion of OSS nodes are usually given from the SAP side. And many times we seek their guidance as well, but because we know that SAP system being created by SAP team, SAP development team, they know the system better than us. And if there are some software bugs that require any kind of code correction or code changes or enhancement or something like that, in that cases that becomes very critical. And this L4 level usually handles the most complex and critical issues only. They do not touch any kind of simple issues as such. And remember, all these errors must be standard errors. If it is a custom error, then even this L4 level issue will be and rather needs to be handled by the client, sorry, not client, vendor team as such. They only will have to deal with it. SAP team can maximum give you the analysis for any kind of custom objects, because SAP usually give you thorough solution only for the standard errors, not for a custom error. For a custom error, maximum they can give you just the little bit of analysis part of it, but then fixing part or any kind of suggestion part they will not do. Guaranteed they will not do. Each level has specific response and resolution time based on the service level agreement with the client. I hope this L1 to L4 level concept all are clear to you. Let's move on to the next slide. Analysis tickets and approaches. How it goes. So these are all mostly related to your L1 level issues is what I have given. It can be related to password reset of the business user. It can be authorization issue, nothing but your user access issue. System navigation help. Sometimes business users are not understanding what to do, how to do, where to go, how to navigate in the system. That kind of help also sometimes they need it. Then it can be any kind of data entry related errors. If they are putting or feeding some wrong data in a particular field, again it will give some error. Any kind of basic troubleshooting like system performance, printer setup, connectivity issue, and likewise. Then report generation. Sometimes they are trying to generate report and output is not coming up properly, or sometimes they do not give the input correctly to receive the right kind of output which they are looking at is not coming up. So it's like a kind of small user assistance. And then even sometimes software installation with SAP client or on user machines. Suppose GUI needs to be installed, for example. This is also a kind of software installation. Or maybe MS Office needs to be installed, or any kind of application on the remote desktop. Suppose some user has newly joined the organization and they need to have all these installation activities. So usually L1 team is the one who is dealing with all such kind of issues. L2 and L3, L4 we have already discussed. So let's move further. Solution proposed. So how a solution is being proposed, how that gets done. Once the issue is assigned to the support team member, it can be from any module in the system. So that person will do the analysis first. First, they will try to understand what this issue is all about. Before understanding the what is the issue is all about, why this issue is coming up, so that is why the deep level of analysis would be needed. Then category also need to be decided. First thing what you have to decide is whether it is an error or it is a service request. If it is an error, then it is an incident. If it is a service request, then no need to analyze. You have to check how to go about setting it up, that particular, or how to go about fulfilling the request of the business user, rather a new request. So then it is not called as a ticket. Then for a given issue, many a times we can have multiple solutions, and we try to propose solutions to the business users as many as possible. For example, just to give you a context, suppose some business user is trying to post a transaction, normal GL transaction. We have many transaction codes. FB01 we have, FB50 we have, F-02 we have. So whatever the user is comfortable and the best one, we will give them. We will teach them, okay, do this, do this, do this. Your transaction will get posted. I just gave a very basic level example, but there can be many such scenarios where you will literally design a solutioning also. Something like whenever there is a gap analysis in the implementation work, that time you do the solution, and this solution can be different kind of solutions can be proposed based on the user's requirement. For example, suppose you are setting up the AUC process for a client, asset under construction process. Now you have two ways to do it. Either you will route it via internal order, or you will route it via project systems, or uh, WBS element route, correct? So in that case, you will propose both. Now business has to decide which one will be the best suited for the requirement they are looking at. Sometimes it can be implemented both as well. So it is purely the business requirement point of view, which one to be used and how it is to be used. In most of the cases, usually the most convenient and the best solution is being recommended from the vendor side to the client side. And the KBA part, which you can see on the top of the slide, this basically is KBA actually is being given by the SAP side, but at this place what I have written KBA is for those issues which is very generic in nature and highly repetitive. So any kind of issue which does not need more of analysis and which can be handled by giving the instructions to the business user, for such kind of issues, usually these kind of documents are created in the support project. People call it as first time right. So the moment they see these kind of issues have come up, they usually send a document to the business user which has the instruction how to go about fixing it up, and that helps them to fix the issue on in the quickest possible time. So this is what they basically look into as part of KBA. So in many clients I have seen these kind of documents are also kept ready to be used as part of solution of the issue in a very quick and efficient manner. Let's move further. Preventive measures. So support is not all about only the fixing the errors. We also need to ensure that what all the methods or what all the approaches we can adopt which will help us in the reduction of the incidents, reduction of the errors. Service request we cannot stop, we cannot increase or decrease because that comes from the business side, but as long as we are able to stop the unwanted events happening in the system, this is what we are focusing upon as part of preventive measures. So what all things we do? We do the regular system maintenance like system health checks, database optimization, performance tuning. All these things are usually taken care by the SAP based system. User training. We also need to ensure that the users are properly trained so that and they understand what all the functionalities which is being offered by the SAP system, so that it will reduce the number of user errors and it will also improve the overall system usage and system performance as well. Then next is monitoring and alerts. Implement monitoring tool to track system performance and set up alerts for any anomalies. This helps in early detection and resolution of potential issues. We have something called as EWA, early watch alert kind of thing set up in the system. These kind of setups usually tracks the system's overall functionality and overall running status and keeps on updating to the people who are mentioned in the email list that okay how the system is working on and if there are any issues found and what all would be the corrective actions. So this is what is the part of your monitoring and alerts. Then patch managements are basically you can say the way we see whenever we install any kind of application in the SAP system. So in that case what happens is lot of patches usually being given in order to improve the overall either system functionality or the system security, or sometimes it can be new functionality as well whenever we activate something new that time also. So these are all needed as a part of system update kind of thing. So this is what is your, and it also fixes any kind of if system has any kind of bug or any kind of issues. In order to fix all these things also then you need the patch management. Then data quality management, which is very important. Your data need to be very neat and clean. If you have data which does not have enough details into it, then it becomes very difficult to deal with these data. And that is why in most of the clients people usually implement validation rules just in order to ensure that the data which is being fed in the system are up to date and as per the requirement. Whatever is the required field, they ensure that they put a validation or something like that, or they put a proper checks. Okay, this document type to be posted only for these transactions. Put a validation. Otherwise, anybody will go and post anything, and then the data consistency will get lost. Okay, next is backup and recovery plans. Remember, it is very much essential that from time to time, rather I will say on a regular interval, you also need to do the proper backup of all the data so far being posted in the system, and you also need to have a process which will ensure that the recovery of data if anything goes wrong with the system, that means if it is a system failure you should know how to go about recovering it. Then security measures, implementing strong security policies including regular audits to protect the system from unauthorized access and even the potential threats. That's why we have something called as whenever we log in we have the OTP functionalities. All these are actually part of your security measures to ensure that only the people who are eligible to have access to certain things, they only have access to it. Anybody else should not have access to it. Then there is also something called as a change management. You also follow a structured change management process to ensure that any changes to the system are thoroughly tested and documented before implementation. Remember, any kind of changes which you are going to carry out in the system is actually a lengthy process. In that case, if you are going to make any changes, some critical changes you are going to make, first you have to develop it and then you have to do the thorough testing. So it will be a very detailed testing covering as many business scenarios as possible, and then it will properly get documented. You will take the UAT approval from the business, and then you will be going about implementing it. So For any change you do, you will do a thorough documentation, and this documentation also will help to reduce the number of issues. Now let's proceed further. So this is the KBA document. I think in our previous slides also we have talked about. So two type of KBA documents we have. One KBA document is given in the OSS portal, where also we can see lot of instructions and lot of different business scenarios related to a particular topic. And then other one is also which I have already discussed, so I will not go much detail over here in this. So basically, whenever the support team creates some documentation in order to handle the recurring issues, and it helps to resolve the issue on a very quick basis, and it is like all how to documents and mainly the kind of user manuals or how to perform a particular activity as such. Let's move further. OSS message. So OSS message, the meaning is online support, online service system, and this is basically a web portal. In the next slide, I will show you how the web portal looks like and what is the link for it. Everything I will show you. But let us understand first what is OSS. It is a message in SAP, a way for users to report issues or request support directly from the SAP. So two things you can do. Suppose you are doing something new and you need some kind of guidance or some kind of help from the SAP directly. In that case, you can raise a OSS message to SAP, or if you are facing some standard issue in the system or some issue in the system where you need some kind of analysis guidance and you are not able to resolve it on your own, in that case also you can request SAP to look into it. And it is basically, OSS message is a kind of a ticket to the SAP team directly. OSS message is a kind of a ticket being raised to the SAP team directly from the vendor side who is actually supporting the client. Now, what is the purpose? So OSS messages are used to report problems, request corrections, seek advice on SAP software issues. That is the purpose of creating the OSS message. If you are going to create the OSS message, in that case you need to have S user ID and password with you, or somebody's S user ID and password you need to have. Then you will log in the portal, you will fill up the details based on whatever issue you have, and then you will just submit it. So to create OSS message, there is all the along the way process. So you have to follow that and then you have to submit. The moment you submit this OSS message, it will generate a number and you will get a notification in your email box that this particular OSS message is being raised. And as and when some update will happen on that particular request, you will keep getting the notification as well in your email account. Then resolution. Once submitted, SAP support team reviews these issues and suggest the solutions. It can be related to OSS nodes implementation, or it can also be in the form of direct assistance. You can direct connect with them and discuss on the issue and get a resolution. Then tracking. You can also track the status of the OSS messages with whatever you have raised to the SAP team through the SAP support portal. And sometimes if the SAP team will ask you some additional information or anything like that, that also you can check it via OSS portal itself. That will give you the complete detail on the same. Let's proceed further. So this is how the OSS message screen looks like, as you can see, and on the top you have a link. I think now currently this is one outdated version. That scenario, this particular look and feel of this particular screen is now changed. Now it looks little different, but this also was the same thing, but this is the older version of it. The newer versions are little bit changed. Let's move further. Yes, this particular slide is talking about what all the different kind of ticketing tools we can have in the SAP world with regard to the tracking, monitoring and resolution of any kind of service request or incidents. So it can be by way of solution manager. We have ServiceNow, we have BMC Remedy Force, we can have Jira. Jira is usually for the project, but then it can be used for that incidents purpose as well. We have Cherwell, and this is not the entire list of all kind of ticketing tools. Some clients are using even Gmail account and even MS Excel or maybe the SharePoint also for logging and tracking the incidents. So client to client, these tools applications actually differs a lot. So these are some of the ticketing tools in which tickets are logged in and then the support team starts working on the same. Next, performance metrics and improvement. The good part about this particular slide is this slide I have got it generated by using AI in Microsoft PowerPoint presentation application. I have used AI functionality in that and I have generated this particular. So what is performance metrics and improvement? So this is basically to see how we are dealing with the client and what is our status. Resolution time. So it is a critical metric indicating the efficiency of incident handling. See, these are basically the different kind of parameters based on which the performance of the SAP support team is being measured or analyzed on a regular basis. So it is resolution time, first time fix rates, means how many times you are able to fix the issue in just one go. You are not doing to and fro kind of thing. Then user satisfaction, how far users are satisfied with the solution you have provided to them, or what kind of feedbacks you are getting from the users based on the solution you are proposing to them, based on the kind of solutions you are giving to the business users. Then ticket backlog, how many issues you have which are more than 10 days old, which are more than 15 days old, which are more than 1 month old, 2 month old, 6 month old kind of thing. So this is what we are talking about, the ticket backlog. So these are some of the parameters, but these are not the only parameters. There can be so many other parameters as well based on which the overall performance of the SAP support team, SAP support project team members as a whole is being analyzed. It can go to the individual level also, it can go to the team level also. It can be done into different ways, and this goes in your performance appraisal as well if you are working in a support project. So you have to ensure that all these things in a way which reflects good for the company in front of the client, and that is how you can get some better increment and a better rating as such. Let's move further. Now I have come to the conclusion of this particular video. I have discussed in this video about lot of topics related to this SAP tickets and incidents. So to conclude, SAP tickets and incidents and service requests all are part of the SAP AMS project work. Usually this incident resolution starts once the hypercare activity gets over. Remember, this hypercare activity also is part of tickets maintenance only, but then this is done by the team who has implemented the SAP software or SAP functionality for a given client. And this hypercare duration is usually anything between 2 weeks to 6 weeks depending on the level of implementation or the scale of implementation is being done. Thereafter, once they hand over the issue, sorry, hand over the support activity to the team who has won the contract for the AMS project, they will take the KT, they will take the handover, and then they will start working on the same. And the most important point is proper and prompt resolution of incidents makes a customer or a client very happy, delighted, and that also makes your job and your life in job much easier. Let's proceed further. Now we have already concluded. So just in case if you have any query, any question, you can drop your query and question to this email ID. It will be certainly responded. You will get a reply for sure. Moving on to the next. Thank you so much for watching this video. Kindly like this video, subscribe this YouTube channel, and share it in your circle and network as well. Let us help each other, and that's it for the day today. Thank you so much once again. Good day. Bye bye.